for the last round interview of the week.
Welcome back to a bonus edition of the Last Round podcast with our guest of the week, coming off a big significant fight, probably one of the most significant fights, if not the most significant fight at the welterweight divisions from Las Vegas between Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. We have the mandatory number one ranked within the WBO, Alexis Rocha of Golden Boy Promotions here as he returns to the last round. Welcome back, Lex.
No, brother, thank you for having me. Thank you, guys.
We appreciate it, man. So, big fight feel. Like we mentioned, you're the number one ranked. You've been number one ranked at WBO for quite a while now. Crawford is now undisputed champion at 147 pounds. What'd you think about the fight, man? Who was your pick beforehand, and then when it happened, what was your reaction?
Crawford. I had Crawford winning. I just feel like he's the better fighter all around. He has a better ring IQ, and people were lacking on his power. I feel that when you're pretty much, I would say Crawford's pretty much a complete fighter. Regardless that he's a counter puncher, he comes forward, but his feet are always set. He's always set to throw the punch, and he's never off balance, and that's where you get all your leverage from your punches. You get all that power from the punches from your legs. So I give it to Crawford.
You know, we were when we previewed the fight last week, Mike and I think it was as much as even before the fight happened. People were saying 50-50 fight. I think everybody agreed with that, and I agree with that too. Mike agreed with that too. I edged it to Spence, even though I wasn't necessarily counting out Crawford, but I edged it to Spence just a hair, just because, to me, I'm a resume guy.
Yeah.
So I looked at it as, well, Spence, I feel, has fought the more high caliber opponents, even though Crawford, the guys he's fought, has been more impressive. But I felt I gave it to Spence just because he fought guys like Ugas, Brook, and even though they all kind of fight the similar guys, I think Spence fought them at more of their prime
earlier. Yeah,
I was just trying to not to sit on the fence, but boy was I wrong, man. I should have listened to you guys and lean towards Crawford. Did you always think when they fought, even when this fight started getting talked about over the last couple of years or so, did you always think it would be Crawford winning?
Yeah, I actually did think it would be Crawford always going. I got a chance to spar with Crawford years ago. I think it was 2017. I got to spar with them, and the guy's just different. He's very long, he's rangy, he knows how to use his jab, works the body very nice. He's always in a position to punch, always in a position to counter. His timing is ridiculous. Only one I can compare it to is Canelo. And I've always edged out Crawford to beat Spence.
What do you think? How much do you think that? Because Crawford in his post-fight interview said, he said he was getting emotional a little bit, but he was talking about they tried to block me out for so many years, saying I can't beat these guys and all that. The political game in the sport. And he was kind of airing that out in that post-fight interview with Showtime. How much, as a fighter, when you have something like that, emotionally, or you're just kind of feeling it, how much does that, do you utilize that to channel your fighting instincts when you're in the ring?
So much. You want to prove everyone wrong when you're in the ring. But at the end of the day, you don't have to do it for anyone. You can't do it for, the fans that want to talk trash. Those are the people that fuel that fire in you. But ultimately, it's got to come within you. You got to dig deep down for yourself. If you want it bad enough, if you want that win, if you want that knockout, it's come within you. And then when you win, it's just an emotional. It's an addictive feeling, to be honest. When you win, when you put all that hard work, and I feel like that's why a lot of fighters come back when they retire. They come back to feel that. They want to, feel that rush again, that feeling of I put it all on the line. I sacrificed my health. I sacrificed family time to get that victory.
Have you ever had, up into your fights up until today, have you ever had anything that's kind of got you in a zone like that? Maybe that happened close to a fight or something that you were just feeling that kind of, tapped into that emotional aggression like that for you in a fight?
I can't really remember. I mean, every fight is just it's good winning a fight, and especially when you win it, there's so much that goes onto it because no one sees, everyone sees you winning or sees you whatever, but no one sees the little hiccups or the little adversity you face in training camps, whether it's you get sick, whether you get COVID, or whether you have injuries. I've had multiple injuries that have held me back, that I had to pull out fights, or I've fought like that. So every time you win, you're just like, oh, like this feels good. Like it's so much that goes into it, but I can't think of a certain moment.
Like you touched on that Crawford and Canelo they're always in a position to punch you, right? You said,
Yeah,
and they're two of the best in the game. So after you've sparred both of those guys, and that's something that you've noticed that they both have in common. Is that something that you've decided to work on because you've taken a leaf out of their book?
yeah, definitely. For any fighter, especially Crawford, he's I wouldn't say I want to copy his style, but us being southpaws and naturally counterpunchers, I have to work more on my defensive style and being the counterpuncher just like he is. Because when his defense was his offensive, when it showed Saturday night, every punch that he pretty much knocked Errol Spence down or hurt him with was a counterpunch. When he threw that left hand and he jabbed him, Errol Spence was leaning in with throwing the jabs, and Crawford made him pay for that. But that's definitely something I wanna take out of their page to look at and to work on for myself.
How did you end up in camp with Crawford?
He was fighting for what fight was it? So his manager at the time, I'm not sure if it's still his manager. I'm sure it's not. It was Cameron Duncan, I believe. And he contacted my coach and he said, "Hey, Crawford's going to be in town. I know you have a southpaw." And at the time, they were going to fight
Indago?
Indago, yeah, for the undisputed belts. So yeah, we went to LA and we had a sparring session.
Did you think, Lex, from this past Saturday night on Showtime pay-per-view, because of both fighters being undefeated, Spence having multiple titles, pretty much all the titles, and then Crawford having the one, them being, the top two guys in the division. Did you think that the level of skills was going to be that wide in between them?
Not that wide because Crawford made it look pretty easy. To be honest, he shocked the world. I knew Crawford was gonna win. I knew he was gonna take him deep. Then the fight will play out in the later round. That's what I really thought. That once the eighth and ninth round, that's when the fight was really gonna start. And I feel like Crawford would take advantage of that. But off the get go, from round one or round two, you could just tell Crawford was in his groove. He was in his zone. His mindset was just right there.
Do you think that just based on you watching the fight, being a fighter, and being a highly ranked fighter currently in the sport, what is some constructive criticism, I guess, that you could give Spence just based on you watching him in the ring on Saturday night?
I mean, you don't really know. You can't give too much criticism because as a fighter, you want to say, "Oh, you could do this, you could do this, you do this," but no one looks at what happened outside of camp. We don't know how bad he struggled weight. We know it's not we can't address the elephant in the room. It's freaking not missed weight. He made weight pretty bad. Well, I wouldn't say made weight bad because we don't know. No one knows, but we know that he's outgrown the weight class. So who knows how hard it was for him to get down to that weight? No one knows that. And when you're dehydrated like that and you put on the weight back, you become lethargic. You don't put the weight on properly. You still feel that you're still fatigued and you're not as hydrated as well. But as Spence, it's pretty hard. He was jabbing with them, and then just Crawford was just a level up.
Do you think they would have fought a couple years ago? Maybe let's just say 3 years ago, 4 years ago, or something. Do you think it still would have been the same result?
I feel like it would have been the same result edging to Crawford, but it would have been a way more competitive fight. I feel because not like to throw Crawford down because he even said in an interview saying like, "Oh, y'all gonna say he stayed at 147 too long and he's struggling. So when I stop him, blah blah blah." I'm not gonna like say that, but I feel like Crawford would definitely still beat him back then. But it would have been a more competitive fight, I feel.
How would you compare Crawford's fight against Porter in comparison to Spence when he fought Porter?
Damn, I didn't. Well, obviously, he stopped him as a result. I didn't really see the fight too much, or both of the fights. I didn't really watch them too much. I remember Errol Spence getting pretty tagged a few times, and he obviously dropped Porter. I forgot what round it was. He dropped him pretty nasty, but it was just the onslaught, and the pressure that won Errol Spence that fight. And then with Crawford, you could just see he was timing him, and then he took him to deep waters in the 12th round, and he stopped him.
You know that statement that you always hear is styles make fights.
Yeah.
People compare like, oh, Porter gave a tougher fight to Crawford than Spence did, and Spence beat Porter. People compare and contrast or something like that. But you as a fighter, how do you react to something like that? Because sometimes you're going to fight guys who you can prepare as much as possible, but you get in there and the style is like, oh wow, this is way different than I thought.
Oh yeah, especially in sparring, you want to always imitate the same height, the same style of their brawlers or the same body frame or whatever. But it's when you get in there, it's a whole different ball game, especially with 8-ounce gloves. The bright lights are on you. People are there screaming your name, chanting for you. It's really different. But styles do make fights. You could have an aggressive guy that comes forward all night, make you look bad, or a guy that runs around on survival mode that makes you look bad. And it comes down to styles that do make fights.
Out of all your fights up until today, is there somebody that that pops into your mind when we ask you about that? Like, oh wow, like this guy's way different than I thought. Or you get in there, as much as you prepared and you got in there, you're like, oh wow, this is a surprise to me.
I can't really think about it too much. I remember, there's could be a couple fighters that like I thought they would come and bring the action, but they run around in their dance horse on their horse for a while. And I think one of them I found in the Staples Center, and then I remember in the 3rd round I hit him with like a hook and I caught his elbow, but the way I punched him tweaked my wrist and I tore my tendon on my elbow. On my wrist. I'm sorry. I punched him and I tweaked my wrist and I tore my tendon. And I remember he just kept running around the whole night. I obviously couldn't fight with my right hand because that's the tendon I tore from my wrist. But I remember he didn't want to engage. He kept running around. And it was kind of a snooze fest because it takes two to tango. And like I said, styles make fights.
How often in the fights that you've been in, how often do you think you've experienced that where you're trying to take the fight to the guy, you're trying to create some action, and they're not engaging with you?
Well, probably that fight for sure. I remember he kept running around. I can't really think about another fight that they ran around. Blair ran around a lot, but he wanted to trade at times, and he actually made a fan-friendly fight. I think that was probably one of the only fights that literally the guy was just on survival mode. He just wanted to dance around and run around the whole night.
And now looking, transitioning back to the Crawford win, they have a 2-way rematch clause, which you don't see. It's very rare to see that. 2-way rematch clause, and I guess, there's potential of it happening at 154, 147. For 154, obviously, it seems like Spence would be a little bit more comfortable. But do you think that changes the outcome?
I still don't think it changes the outcome. I still think it might change a little bit, but it might be more competitive, like in the opening rounds, because Spence would have his legs. He wouldn't be as fatigued, or wouldn't be as an off night. But I still edge it to Crawford.
Do you think it happens in the same fashion? Does he stop him?
I don't think he stops him. I think he might stop him in the later rounds, like round 12, round 11. But I don't think so. I think he edges him on points.
Lex, how is it for you knowing that you're obviously the mandatory for the WBO, knowing that these guys are going to fight? You're probably going to have to sit on the sidelines waiting for like a year. And did they consult with you and ask you to essentially step aside?
During the time, yeah, when I was supposed to be Crawford's mandatory, the only thing you could get by mandatory is if you for unification bout. So there was never really talks of me fighting Crawford, even though WBO, mandated it. But there was never really talks. There was always the talks of Earl Spence and Crawford, which, as a fighter and as a fan, me as a fan, like, all right, that fight makes a, I got to step on the sidelines and I got to, you get impatient, but you want to be patient at the same time because it's going to be a holdup. And even right now, it's like, who knows what's going to happen. If I fight Crawford, then I fight him in the future, but I don't know. I genuinely don't know what's going to happen. I feel like they're going to do the rematch clause, and then maybe he'll vacate the belt or something. Or maybe move up to fight Charlo.
If he does vacate the belt, who would be the mandatory for you? You and who would fight for the WBO?
I think Cody Crowley, who's ranked number 2.
Yeah, 1 and 2, right? It'd be you and then whoever's
below you. It'd be 1 and 2, yeah.
When Crawford, before the fight was made, I think he was here during your fight week, right? He met with Golden Boy and Oscar.
Yeah, he met that, but obviously he didn't sign the deal with them. I think he signed the deal with PBC.
Right. So did you have a conversation with Crawford since he was here in Southern California during that week?
No. He went to the Golden Boy office, which was in LA, and that was the same day that I fought the YouTube. I had my phone was turned off, and then my coach came up to me like, hey, don't be surprised if Crawford's here or something, because I am the number 1 mandatory to fight him, and don't be surprised if he's here. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, it is what it is, but he wasn't there at the fight, and then I think he flew back the same day or something, but no, I never met with Crawford.
Oh, okay, because I thought since he was there, or at least in LA, we thought, okay, maybe you guys connected, and he's like, yeah, we'll fight in the future or something, but there was no conversation had, right?
No.
So going back to Mike's point, what do you think is more realistic? Is that you fight Crawford for the titles, or could be Spence, who knows? Or that those titles get vacated and you end up fighting for a vacant title against the number 2 guy?
Honestly, boxing's so unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. I have to sit back with my team and just see how the cards play out. I do see him vacating. I don't really see Crawford being here too much longer. But yeah, like I said, I just got to be patient at the same time.
Do you think if he moves up to 154 to fight Charlo, I think it's Jermell Charlo, who holds the titles at 154, you think Crawford beats him too?
And based off the performance he put last fight, yeah, I think he does beat him.
So earlier last week, a couple days before Spence Crawford, we had another pretty significant fight, at least in terms of you want to look at the mythical pound for pound, with the monster Inoue in Japan beating Stephen Fulton in his debut at 122 pounds and becoming a unified champion at 122 pounds.
I don't know that was his debut. I thought he had fought before.
Oh, yeah. That was his debut at 122 pounds. Fighting the number 1 ranked guy, too. So, just playing the mythical pound for pound, people have all these lists and stuff, People hate it, some people love it, but people always talk about it because it's, it's interesting to them. How would you categorize each of them right now?
Crawford 1, Inoue 2. Who would be number 3?
Who's it, Canelo?
Canelo would probably be 5th, just based off his last performance and also his loss with
Bivol,
yeah. Number 3, I don't know who that would go to. You guys are having some names.
Spence. Is Spence still in there? Because Spence was still like in a lot of.
I'd put Spence top 5 for sure. Yeah, I'd put Spence top 5.
Shakur Stevenson, Lomachenko.
Yeah, I'd put Devin Haney obviously there. I'd put him in the top 5, yeah, because he's beat He's beat the man that beat the man, which is Kambosos. He beat him twice. He's beat Lomachenko. Shakur's a badass. He's up there. Teofimo Lopez would definitely be up there. Arthur, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Beterbiev. He'd be up there too. As in ranking, like 3 to 4, I don't know. That's it. But for sure, Crawford 1, 2 in a way.
Why do you think Crawford edges out for the number 1 spot against the monster Inoue? And mind you, Inoue started at 108 pounds.
180 pounds.
He won titles there, won titles at 112, 115, 118. And in his debut at 122, he fights the number 1 guy, Stephen Fulton, and knocks him out.
Yeah. I mean, Crawford's been around for quite some time, and he's been putting on entertaining fights, and he has more of a resume, too. Since he started at 135, he was undisputed at 140, 147. He's knocked out everyone. He hasn't been in a close fight where Inoue had a close fight with Nonito Donaire. You know, he beat him, but he still had a close fight with him, and the rematch knocked him out. I still have to give it to Crawford.
So Crawford for you is easily number 1 right now.
Yeah, easily.
So are you more, I know you're a fighter and stuff, but like, are you more of in these mythical pound for pounds, how people categorize them, are you more of a resume guy or are you more of the eye test? Because a lot of people looked at Crawford like, no, you can just tell he's got it. But
yeah, no. Yeah, I definitely feel I'm the eye test guy. The resumes do speak for themselves. Don't get me wrong. Facts are facts. You pull up numbers, and numbers don't lie. But yeah, you can just tell like this guy's going to be special. This guy's when the opportunity is going to be approached to him, he's going to take full advantage. I'm not just talking about Crawford. I'm talking about other people too.
You gave us your pound for pound, Lex. Just give us who are your favorite fighters to watch.
Right now?
Yeah.
Besides yourself.
Myself? Yeah, I'm a biggest critic. Yeah, I like myself, definitely. I put myself up there. I put Virgil up there. Your Boots Ennis, I like watching him. I like watching his fights. His fights are pretty badass. Crawford, Spence, Inoue. A lot of people call him boring, but every time I watch him, I'm just like, fuck, this guy is badass. It's Shakur Stevenson. Yeah. I watch him a lot. Even Devin Haney. They get a lot of snooze fest comments and whatever. But us as fighters are like, you appreciate the movements they do, the skill they have. I like watching that. Who else is another fighter that I like?
Is there anybody on the come up right now that maybe you're aware of that not a lot of people are aware of that you're like, oh, okay, this guy's coming?
Raymond Murataya, that guy's coming. He's a 135 pounder at RGBA. He's a badass. He's top rank. Yeah, he's a badass. He's coming up. Lindolfo Delgado. Yeah, that was coming up too.
He's super good, Lex, but he's been around for a while, but he's never seemed to burst onto the scene.
Yeah, that's true. He is a little older.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's not the resumes, they do speak for themselves, but I feel like when the time will come, he's gonna rise to the occasion. And that's just one of the guys I think that's like on the way up, coming up. Oh, Bam. I love watching Bam fight. Got Bam Rodriguez. I love watching him fight. Forgot to throw him in there. Yeah, I used to love watching Josh Franco fight too. He was badass. Just the RGB Gate guys, because I'm always down there. I'm always training with them. I'm always sparring with like all the guys around there, and I see the work they put in. I spar with the guys too, and I'm like, okay, this is someone to watch out for. Those guys are just badass. They have a 154 pounder. His name's Leo Reese, who's also really good too. Extremely hardworking. He's at 154. He's gonna come up. He's on the come up as well. A lot of guys from that gym coming up.
Is Mikey Garcia? Is he still in and around the gym? Maybe getting some work in, or no?
No, he's not.
It's over, huh? Yeah, he's done.
He's had a successful career. He doesn't need to be doing this anymore. And if the fire's not in you, and he's even said it, I think the fire's not in him to compete at that high elite level like he used to, then it's not there. He's a smart businessman. He's got He's got fucking like 20 properties in Riverside. He's monopolized pretty much on Riverside and stuff, and even Oxnard. But no, he's not there. I see him once in a while come at the gym.
How about Jorge Chavez? You better throw him in, right?
Oh yeah, damn! I'm also missing my teammates too. I'm messing up. Yeah, like my team. I'm not just saying that because they're my team, but those guys actually work really hard because I consider myself a workhorse, and I'm always in the gym. I'm always training hard, and they'll tell you too that I'm a gym rat. I love being in the gym, and I work out very hard. But they motivate me to work out that hard. They work out. I see them hitting the bags, and I see them doing the extra little things, and I'm like, damn, I can't let this guy outwork me. I gotta keep working out. Johnny Canas, Jorge Chavez at my gym, and those guys are the next prospects coming up. George hopefully probably signs the Golden Boy pretty soon. Johnny Canas, who's I've known since a little kid, pretty much. They're both coming up, and I'm proud to say they're my teammates.
So, like, you last fought Anthony Young, May the 27th. So how long?
Yeah.
You win, 5th round knockout. How long do you take out of the gym?
I was in that gym Wednesday after my fight. Yeah.
Oh wow.
And I usually take a week off, but I'm still running. Like regardless how tough the fight was. Oh, actually, I take that back. I remember one fight, like I had these nasty blisters on my feet, and I had to take like 2 days off because I could not walk. They hurt that bad. But regardless of like the fight, I fight Saturday or fight Friday. I'm always back running Monday. So my last fight, I was back at 24 Hour Fitness running on a Monday, and I was back in my boxing gym, TKO Boxing Club, on a Wednesday.
Have you always been like that?
Yeah, always been like that. I love staying in the gym, and that's where you learn the most. Like, what are you going to learn from me if you take the time off? If you sit down on the couch getting fat and being inactive, you want to go and perfect, work on your craft.
And is that something that you like to do, Lex? Because you're going to have young people in the gym looking up at you, right? Obviously, They see you back in the gym straight away. They think, okay, well, look at Lex. He's on the verge of being a world champion, and they'll copy you.
Yeah, I mean, aside from me being a fighter, me being a fighter gives me a big platform, to people to look at me, to criticize me, to do whatever. But I like setting examples. I love inspiring the people. I love inspiring the youth. I love giving back to my community, going to schools and talk to them. And especially at the gym, all the little kids that I think they look up to me, But, I want to show them how hard I work and just be humble and respectful always, no matter. I'm not saying I made it, but I'm number one. I'm ranked number one for a reason. So I want to just show them that I'm respectful, I'm humble, and I'm just hardworking, and I haven't changed or anything.
Did you go on vacation after that fight? You went to like Barcelona or somewhere?
Yeah. I went to Barcelona and I went to Paris.
How was that? How was Barcelona?
Oh, I loved them. I've been there before. It was different this time around because when I went with a bunch of friends, and we're just going around being, goofballs and stuff. And we're also 19 at the time, so we didn't really plan anything. We just want to go sightsee, and we just, you're 19, you're going around and just want to just live it up or somewhat. And then this time I went with my girlfriend, so it was different. It was different in the sense that I don't know how to say it. Like, you enjoy it more because, especially, it was her first time going, so you're like, oh damn, like you can see like, oh damn, this is so nice. I've never been here, and I've been to Europe like 5-6 times already. So I'm like, yeah, it's different out here. And I kept telling her it's gonna be different. It's a whole different world. They're fast paced. It's just way different how Europe lives. I mean, America like lives with Europe. Just it's two different. Obviously, you should know. I've been to England. You know how it is. Very fast paced. Here, people. They drive a car to like the local 7-Eleven. Over there, they walk for miles and miles and miles, or take the subway or the bus. But yeah, it was just different, and I had a great time.
Two things. Did you visit the Nou Camp, Barcelona Stadium?
The Barcelona Stadium? No, I didn't. No,
and two,
I actually didn't.
Ricardo Sandoval went to the UK And because traffic's on the other side of the street, he nearly got run over crossing the street. Did that happen to you?
Ricardo Sandoval. Oh, that's another guy I gotta mention. That he's a badass. That I love. He's such a humble young guy. I think we're the same age, but he's very humble, extremely hardworking. You know, I follow him. I talk to him every time I can. But yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah, it's hard over there, especially too when you're walking, and people are rude. I'm not gonna lie, people are rude over there.
So, Lex, Cody Crowley.
You didn't find that funny, huh?
Nah, he found it funny. He found it funny. So Lex, Cody Crowley is number 2 right now, at least currently, ranked right behind you on the WBO. Assuming Crawford, Spence, after they have the rematch, which seems like it's going to be likely, and then the belts get vacated and stuff.
Yeah.
And you have to fight the number 1, number 2. You're number 1, he's number 2. Assuming it stays like that, how would you see that fight against Cody Crowley? What would you think about that?
He's a technical fighter. He comes forward, but he's very technical. He's southpaw too, so just like how Errol Spence Crawford was going to be 2 southpaws going at it, and I feel like it'll be a fan friendly fight, and I'm extremely confident in my skills whoever I'm in the ring with, and it's my time to shine, especially if it's for a world title. It's a do or die moment, and I've sacrificed more than half my life for this, so I'm gonna give everything I have to win a world title.
Now, where do you think that
he recently beat Josecito Lopez, didn't he?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I saw the fight. Yeah.
Where do you think that fight potentially should take place?
I don't know if he has a big following, really. I've seen him. Seems like a all right guy. He has a fan friendly style, like I said. I don't know if he has that much of a fan base. I'm not familiar with them, but I feel like the fight should take place here in Los Angeles or in Southern California.
He was based out of Mayweather gym for the longest time.
Oh, was he? Okay.
In Vegas. He's from Canada, but he's been in Vegas.
Yeah, I know he's from Canada.
For a long, long time. I don't think he has a huge following because he's really kind of been out of his country for quite a while.
Yeah, so I don't know if it would make sense to fight in California. I mean, in Canada, but here in California, you have all the Mexicanos that are going to want to come, and obviously support me or just want to watch some fights. They want to get drunk and just have a good time.
Exactly. And then recently there was president of Golden Boy Promotions, Oscar De La Hoya, had an HBO documentary made about him, a 2-part short series about him. You were at the premiere. Just give us your reaction. What'd you think about it?
I loved it. It was a good documentary. It was very raw. He showed that he was very vulnerable, and he tells how much he battled with like his upbringing, his mom passing away, his father, and it's just it's a lot of similarities to like a Mexican. You should know too how they're so hard on you. I wouldn't say we're soft right now. Maybe we are, but we're more in tune with our emotions, and I feel like that's pretty big. That's pretty big in today's society, because obviously with new stuff coming on, you have to be in tune. If there's something that's bothering you, you got to speak up. You got to tell people what's wrong or what's going on. A lot of suicides going on. It's just a lot of stuff out there. But it was a very good documentary, and it was a privilege to watch the premiere of it.
Was there anything in it that you were just like, oh wow, I can't believe he was cool with that, like adding that into it?
I mean, I knew his mom passed away, and I knew, him saying that I don't know if I got it mixed up. I'm not sure if his mom saying get that medal for me was a lie, or him promising his mom getting the medal was a lie. I don't know. I knew one of those were a lie. I don't know which one's true or not. Or maybe they're both lies. But I was kind of like, oh, dang, that's kind of crazy, because that was the whole talk of him coming up, was him winning a gold medal for his passing mom.
Yeah, I saw that on Ariel Helwani. He did an interview, and he said that whoever interviewed him just said that, and he just went along with it, and that was kind of like,
with it.
Yeah, and it kind of spiraled, and everyone said that kind of was what happened and became the truth, I guess. And obviously, it was something the commentator or the interviewer said.
Yeah. Yeah, that took me by surprise because, like I said, me growing up, I mean, me barely getting into boxing, I would watch Oscar De La Hoya videos because I wanted to be an Olympic medalist too. I wanted to be a gold medalist. I wanted to be an Olympian. And I remember I just watched when he fought the guy from Germany, knocked him out and not knocked him down in the finals, and then so he had lost to that guy from Germany in a previous tournament. He came back and fought him in the finals, drops him, and wins the gold medal. So I was like, oh dang, that's badass.
Something else I saw on your social media, Lex, was it looks like did you work alongside Chavez Senior?
No, I didn't work along Chavez Senior. I saw him because he was working. So I was commentating some of the zone fights in Mexico City. So I was a commentator alongside with Beto Duran, aka Jim Lampley. But yeah, I was out there commentating fights with him, and then I just hear all this commotion, the crowd going insane. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then I look back at me, and Chavez is right there walking behind me. And I'm like, oh dang! I was kind of starstruck a little bit because I'd never seen him, and I've always been a fan too. And people were just saying like, hey, let's get a pic. Like people, I mean Beto, and just the Golden Boy people were saying like, hey, get a picture with him, get a picture with him. I'm like, all right. So I like really quick because he was bombarded by a lot of people taking pictures left and right. So I snuck in a little quick picture with him.
Did he recognize you?
No, he didn't. He probably didn't know who it was.
Not yet. He'll recognize you eventually.
Not yet, but soon he will.
One of the fighters you looked up to when you were growing up?
Yeah, Chavez Senior was one of them. Oscar De La Hoya, Pernell Whitaker, Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard. Those are the guys when I was starting to fight, I was looking up because I saw Oscar De La Hoya, and then the whole chain of like the 1990s, and then it went to the 1980s, and I saw Mike Tyson, and I was like, oh dang. And then I wasn't even familiar with the fighters coming up nowadays. I remember the only fighter that caught my attention was Victor Ortiz, because he was making a lot of buzz when, like, back in the 2009 era. He was like a prospect coming up, and I'm like, oh shit, this guy's gonna be badass.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Lex, actually, before we finish here, what's the update on your next fight? What can you tell us what's going on?
I'll be back before the year ends, and it'll be sooner than people think. So keep an eye out. Like I said, it's not gonna be for the world title, but it's gonna be from a mandatory spot. I'm taking that very serious because I've worked, like I said, a long time for this, and no one's coming in and take this away from me. So I'll be fighting for my NABO welterweight title, the mandatory spot, and yeah, you guys could just keep tuning in. You can follow me on Instagram at Alexis Rocha 777.
This will be your 8th fight in
activity.
2 years, right?
Activity matters, yo. It definitely does. Activity does matter. Gotta thank my promotional company. Gotta thank my team. The Golden Boy. Thank you. Thanks to everyone for keeping I think the zone too, because they're always bringing me on, and I've been the main event my last 2 fights, and I just keep the ball rolling.
One last thing, if the rematch happens between Spence Crawford, and let's just say Crawford wins again, if you could talk to him right now, what would you tell him? Like, hey, stay at 147 for one more time and face me. Would you want to do that?
Yeah, of course. That's he's the man to beat, and that's the man to be, and that's the man I want to be, because he has all the belts, he has all the gold, all the straps, and that's why we're in it, in this sport. Especially for me, I'm in this sport to fight the best and to be one of the best. So that's the fight to make.
One last thing actually just popped in my head. Last one.
Yeah, brother.
So Crawford, as you know, was walked out by Eminem in his fight.
Oh, I knew he was gonna knock him out when I saw that. I'm like, that's it. Crawford in 8.
So there was an interview from a few years back, I don't even know when, where Crawford's in the gym or something, and I don't know who did the interview, and I apologize, can't give them credit, but I saw a clip of it, and they asked him like, oh, who could, if you can pick anybody who would walk you out, and he thought about it. He's like, oh, I'd probably pick Eminem. He's like, I'm a huge fan. I like his music, and I think Eminem saw it on social media within the last couple of weeks, and said, "Oh wow!" Like, and then they obviously made it happen.
Yeah.
If asking you that same question that Crawford was asked a couple years ago, if you could pick anybody to walk you out, who would it be?
Right now?
Just yeah, it has right now.
The guy that I come out to Canción Mexicana, and that's by Pepe Aguilar. So I would love to have Pepe Aguilar walk me out. I would love to have that. And it might not be this fight, but for my world title fight, he has to walk me out. I'm gonna reach out to him or something. I might get in contact for him to walk me out. I know he doesn't really perform like that anymore, but I'm asking him. I'm gonna bring out of retirement, come walk me out.
He did it for Canelo.
Was this last fight?
No,
Wait,
it was
a couple
in
years
Texas.
back, right?
It was in Texas, right, Mike?
A couple years back, I believe.
Yeah, I think
he had J Balvin, didn't he? One time.
He had J Balvin for when he fought. I believe it was Billy Joe Saunders, or
it was in Miami, I think.
Yeah, never mind. It wasn't Billy Joe Saunders. Well, it could have been. It could have been the other guy too.
Callum Smith,
the mandatory. No, it wasn't Callum Smith. There was I don't know how to pronounce his name. He was Turkish.
Yildirim.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, no, he had Pepe Aguilar and Pepe Aguilar's children sing him to the ring with the whole mariachi, and it was cool. It was like I think it was in Dallas. I think it was a stadium fight, so it was huge, man. Yeah, that was a moment. But you're saying Pepe Aguilar at one point, you're going to try to make that happen.
I'm going to make it happen.
Yeah. Say it into existence, man. That's what you got to do. That's what you
have to do. Yep.
Well, once again, man, we appreciate you coming on. Obviously, you're always welcome here on The Last Round. You're the number one ranked the WBO rankings. You said you're coming back before the end of the year, so hopefully we have an announcement soon.
Yep.
The next couple of weeks, maybe announcement.
Yeah, next couple of weeks I'll have an announcement for sure.
Sweet.
Awesome. I'll be there, Lex. I've only missed a couple in the entire career, so make sure.
I corrected that one time.
Yeah.
Remember, I corrected that one time. So
yep.
You got to do your A game.
Yeah, caught me slipping.
Yeah, I caught you slipping for a little bit.
He got you. Mike, go ahead and let them know they can find us and follow us before we end it.
We are at The Last Round 12 on Instagram and Twitter, and be sure to join us next week.
Awesome. So for our guest of the week, in Alexis Lex Rocha, the number one ranked at the WBO welterweight rankings. For my co-host Michael Shepard, I'm Danny Z. This is The Last Round.
Thanks for supporting and listening to the show. Follow us at The Last Round 12 on social media. Rate, review, and subscribe. This is The Last Round Podcast.